Hi, everyone. This is Diana Rankin, and this is actually the first time I've tried going directly on YouTube. So I'm just kind of seeing how it's happening and if it's working. So this is just a test, and um, we'll see if it works, and hopefully it does, so I don't have to re-record this. But this is number 46. This is week 46 of the year 2019. These are your psychic soul messages, and these are probably getting in the way. Sorry about that. I forget to take them off because I'm so used to wearing them. But this is week 46 in 2019, and it is for November 10th to the 16th, your psychic soul messages and predictions. And this is the week of my birthday. I'm going to turn 74 on the 11th. November 11th is my birthday. And what we're going to do today is we will get a message from my spirit guide, Phillip, and we just kind of flip through the book and get an answer. And each page is a different wisdom. It's an oracle book, so we'll just think left page or right page and get a message there. We're also going to answer one of your questions and read from that. So let's start there and welcome everybody. You're welcome to post questions to me. I do my best to answer them. We ask Philip what the question, and Philip gives us the answer. And this week, I also want to give you a little information about how I feel. So it's been kind of another rough week. As you know, I've had 3 friends die in the last almost as many months, and another one just entered hospice. So please keep us all in your hearts and love and prayers. We appreciate it. So our question this week is about the political situation. And by the way, if you have a question for Philip, you can post it below. Some people contact me privately, and that's okay. It's nice to see them posted below because that way I can see if there are others interested in the same question. I do ask that you keep the questions general so all of our viewers will be interested rather than a personal question. If you have personal questions and would like to set up a session for a reading, you could do so. Information on how to do that is below as well. So here's our question for this week, and I do read from my current journal because that's where I just sit down and talk to Philip. This is the question. A few months ago, Philip told us that at the time it appears Trump will be reelected. Is this still the case, or is there now a probability that he will be removed, quit, or not win in 2020? Here's Philip's answer to that. We begin by reminding you that everything is energy. What does this have to do with governments, people who run the governments, and elections? Specifically, the current president of the US and the 2020 election. Remembering that everything is energy, we say that the energy to keep the current president of the UN, remembering that everything is energy, we say the energy to keep the current president of the US in office past the 2020 election is still strong. The tipping point to change that has not yet been reached. At this point, the energy will follow the energy of 1973. Impeachment will come after the election, but most likely before he is sworn in or shortly thereafter. This said, there is a possibility of the energy changing over the next 2 months. If the energy is to grow stronger, more people must take part to create that change. And then I asked, does this require people to get involved in the political process? And the answer to that, Philip gives us. That is, of course, helpful, but it is more about changing the energy. We remind you that anger and fear fuel anger and fear. It matters not what political party has power if the energy is strong with fear and anger deeds done. Policies made will be harmful to the people and the planet. The healing takes place with each individual when emotions of compassion and caring overtake those of fear and anger. The political scene will reflect this. We cannot state this strongly enough. Every individual has the power to make the changes in the physical world they want to see simply by changing their own energy. The current administration is in power as a result of the energy expressed in the population. As the individual changes, their energy, the population changes. As every individual changes their energy, the population changes. Thus, the political arena changes. And then, of course, I said, thank you, Philip. And I always receive a thank you back from Philip. And this is, I'm going to give you the information in a minute from Philip's book, but this is, I wrote down what I wanted to say to you so I wouldn't forget anything. So I'm actually going to read it to you. This is how I'm feeling, and I just want to pass this along. I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to sell anything to you or to say others who think differently are wrong and I'm right. That's not my purpose here. I'm here with an open heart to pass along the information that I've gained over the years of study and from the wisdom of my guide, Philip. Back in the early 1970s, I started reading Alan Watts, and I still read Alan Watts and many, many others. I just love to learn and love to grow, and I'm a student. I also, from Antioch University, did my master's degree in human spirituality, in how the sacred is expressed across cultures and throughout history, because I have a deep appreciation of the literature that expresses and the teachers that tell us about the sacredness of life. There are those who believe, as the ancient Zoroastrians did, that there is good and there is evil. Choose one. Good will always win. This is also close to the Christian belief and many other beliefs. There are those in today's world who believe in a them and us. I don't believe that. This mentality only divides us when we go them and us. It's the belief that causes wars and separation. And I think it's a fear-based belief when we take those old beliefs and put them in the modern world. We have a them and an us. I don't believe in them and us. I believe in love, in acts of love, in acts of compassion, acts of caring, reaching for understanding instead of dismissing each other. Does this mean we don't have boundaries or we don't speak out and stand up? Of course not. Of course we have to speak out and stand up. Love for self calls for healthy boundaries. Love of others calls for our speaking out against evil and standing up for what's right, but always doing so in love. I apologize for reading that. I just wanted to make sure that I remembered it all and gave it to you. Let's get our message from Philip, shall we? My book is a little bit damp. It's getting a little worn too. I overwatered the plant and water dripped down on it, but I think it still works. So think left page or right page, and we'll see what the message is. If you get the same page as I get, that just means you're tuning in. If you get it, like if I say right and you get right, great, you got it. Your intuition's working. If you get the opposite page, which I always read as well, that's okay too, because maybe that's a private message for you. So let's see what we've got, shall we? It's going to flip through. That doesn't quite feel right. Okay, we're going to stop there. What happened, there was an extra page there, and when it flipped, then it felt right, okay to me. And I'm looking at the right page, by the way. And here it is. You are not the power. You are the channel through which the power flows. You are not the channel. Excuse me. You are not the power. I'm not the power. We're simply the channels through which the power flows. Oh, let that be a power of love, my friends, because that is the only way we're going to change things. And you've heard me say it. Love is a verb. That means, how are you treating others? That means every time we feel anger, we need to look inside instead of pushing it out and blaming the other, instead of yelling at somebody else. We need to look within and say, what does this say about me? What does this have to do with me? What is it I need to change about me? Do I need to yell at that other person and say, you're just wrong? Or do I need to say, you know what? We don't believe the same. And that's okay. That's okay. If there's an act taking place of anger and I can stop it, I need to stop it. And then I need to look at me and say, how do I root out my anger and my fear? This is the left side message. Be an answer to the problem, not the problem itself. Be an answer to the problem, not the problem itself. Let's not create more problems. I don't care if you're far left or far right. Stop creating more problems for the world and each other and for yourself. Let's start thinking how we can create good in the world, how we ourselves can be happier. You know, there's so much sorrow in the world. Another book I recommend is one of mine. It's 52 Ways to Practice Greater Happiness. One of those is simply to sing. When you get up in the morning, and sometimes before I get out of bed, I am silently singing to myself songs that make me happy. It might be an old childhood song, joy, 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 down in my heart. I may not even want to get out of bed that morning, but pretty soon singing a heart like that, or singing a song like that, or singing a song like this little light of mine, I'm going to make it shine. I feel the responsibility of making my light shine, not to change your mind, but to give you what works for me. A long time ago, I was on a date, and we went out walking, and while we were walking, we got into a philosophical discussion about what works in your life. And when I had listened to the gentleman, and then he asked me what I thought, and I gave him my beliefs, and he looked at me and he said, that's not a belief. And I was expecting him to say, tell me that's wrong, but he didn't. Instead, he said, that's a knowing that goes beyond belief. We all can reach that point of knowing who we are, where we belong, and what's right in our life. May you find that for yourself this week. I love you, my friends. Thank you, everybody. Everybody here is we're getting along. We're doing fine. So thank you for loving the kitties and Daisy dog and me. And most of all, thank you for loving yourself. Until we meet again.